welcome to another episode here with She is Society and my lovely friends. We have Candice and Marcela, and they're joining me today for us to just have a casual conversation on wellness, right? So I think that, we've all been a part of fitness, wellness, improving our physical, our health choices, and all the things, right, for many, many years. For those of you that don't know, when I left the corporate world many years back, it was to start a gym. So I have a little background there. So fitness has always been something that I'm super excited about. And so we're just gonna, I think what I was saying was that I'm in a much different place today than I was many years back, and what my motivations were for fitness back then to where they are today. So we're just gonna have a conversation with our community, because one of the things that we're passionate here at She is Society is pouring into the woman so that she can walk out the life that God has for her. Mentally, spiritually, physically. And so we are all busy, but we wanted to take some time to be able to share our heart with you, to be able to inspire all of us, because the truth is, we were just talking about this before we started the stream, is that I personally am going to be doing this journey alongside my sisters, and we're going to get into the challenge part of things, but really we wanted to kind of just reset, right?
Yes.
And get everyone to consider their own health journey. Where do you find yourself at? What are you wanting to get out of your life? And what you can do to ensure that you are living out your full optimum potential here in life. So,
And this isn't our first time hosting a wellness challenge. We've done fitness challenges together before, and they've been a great success. We've heard so many testimonies of people just helping them get back on track and helping them reset their health goals. And we know it happens to the best of us, that life gets in the way. We get busy with work. We get busy with kids. We get busy with commitments in church and all the things that we are committed to, that sometimes our health falls in the back burner, but we feel it. It shows up in all those areas when your health ends up being at stake for not being a priority.
yes, and I think we can, me personally, I'm just going to be full transparency here and talking about all my flaws, but I think one of the things that I personally hide myself behind is like, the time will come later. This is a season. It's a season where I'm just going to sit back because I have so many other demands in life pulling at me that I'm prioritizing that over my health, and it's easy for me to sit behind that for a really long time. But I know that, one of the things that we're always talking about within our community is that there is still action you have to take. Like, God wants to do things through your life, and he wants to move in your life for you to display his glory through the choices that you're making, the self-control that you're practicing, the discipline that you're implementing, but it still requires us to do our part. And so for me, that's what this challenge is going to be about, is for me just applying discipline, because like I said, my motivation today and what I want to accomplish for my physical or for my health, wellness, is not the same as it was back in 2012. It's very different. I'm thinking about just more energy, higher productivity.
And that's what I was going to say. For a lot of women that will be partnering with us in this challenge, a lot of them are coming from that place of, right now life is just too busy. And also the other thing we see frequently is people that have the all or nothing mentality. Like, because I can't go all in and I don't have the time to nail every meal and do all the workouts, I'm just going to put it on the side and do it later. But when you choose to become a person who says, I do it now, your life will change and it'll impact every single area of your life. And I want this to also be an opportunity for mindset reframe, because if you start looking at movement as an energy giver, as something that fuels your life, then it won't be something you'll put off because you're too tired, or you'll put off because you don't have time, because you know that that's going to be the fuel. I mean, you just shared right now that you're 50% more productive when you're working out. I'm like, so you can't afford not to do this.
Yes, that is so true. Absolutely. I was sharing with Candi that, I just started already like getting into practice, right? The movement is such a big piece that I think people really count out, is that even if you're just walking, let's say this challenge for the next 6 weeks, I'm just going to walk 3 times a week, right? And make that commitment. Don't discount that movement just because it's walking is not enough, because that movement will ripple and it will snowball and it will grow. And so I think it's important for us, again, and going back to mindset, thinking that like it has to be all or nothing. Like, if I'm not in the gym 5 days out of the week, or if I'm not doing this extensive training, then it doesn't count. But really what we want to see in women, what we have seen time and time again being in this industry, is that the movement is such a big piece. Don't discount the little. Don't discount small beginnings in your fitness journey. So
Yes, I'm so excited to be doing this again because I feel like after doing challenges for, I don't know, like 13 years, one of the things I've found is that women get excited when there's a challenge, right? There's a start date and an end date. One thing as a coach that I don't love about a challenge is that I don't want you to get in a challenge mentality that you only do it when there's a challenge and then you don't do it afterwards. But the only good thing about it, and the other thing that you said was, don't wait for it to be perfect. But if things are hard right now, this is a perfect time to do it with others, because if you're able to get through it in the hard with the accountability, with the friends, with the coaches, then it's going to be a good way for you to get that extra push to get through it when it's hard. So when things are easy, you already have that momentum going rather than waiting when it's perfect for you to do it. Because if not, a month will go by, a year will go by, and you still haven't started.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just being around that energy, people who are knowledgeable, who are excited, who are walking the walk, that it takes being around that for you to just get going. And, that's how habits begin, right? It's just the choice. It's not, the saying that I use a lot is feelings make great servants, but they make terrible masters. So if you continue to let your feelings lead, you'll never get on the track or on the course, like Edith shared, living out the purpose that God has for you. And so I'm excited for those of you that are going to choose to make the commitment to step into this wellness challenge, because you're going to do it by choice and not let your feelings lead. And you're going to allow us be part of that fuel to your fire when it feels like there is none. Because the reality is, at the beginning, you'll have some excitement, and then a few days in, you might feel like, oh, I don't feel like doing this workout. But that's where we come into place.
Yes, the accountability is such a big factor, because there's a group of people that are walking alongside of you. We know that accountability increases your chances of just having success in anything that you're wanting to pursue, because someone is there to hold you accountable to the decision that you're making. And so that's what this challenge is going to be about. And we have so many perks. I mean, one of the things, we were just talking about how excited we were to kind of reconnect and do a podcast. We haven't done one together in so long. But I'm just so grateful to be able to partner with them, and for them to say yes to giving of their time to come and sit and educate our community, but also provide the support for the next 6 weeks. And as you know, this is also a fundraiser, so all the proceeds are going towards operational expenses and just all the things that go into creating what we do here, which is educating women. I mean, one of the things we've talked about going forward and what vision that we have for the future is creating a space where women come and learn, and that there's programs and workshops and seminars and classes and wellness and health, mental health. All those things are going to be such big components and programs that we want to offer to our community, so that it's not just a one-time thing, right? So that you are being held accountable to these decisions, growing in your faith, growing in your fitness. Like, these things are hard. They're not easy. And they do go hand in hand.
We can't compartmentalize our life like many of us want to do. They all go hand in hand. And when you realize that all of it, interconnects, then you'll see that impact it has. When I stepped into fitness and took it on a whole nother level, I realized how it shifted things in my home life, how it shifted things in my work life. And I realized I don't want to ever not be this person who knows that when I invite God to do really big, scary things, that like He is the wind behind my back. And how, even just the example you get to set for your children, they don't do what you say, they do what you do. And so if you're telling your kids not to eat junk food and to move, and we're in a diabetes epidemic, and people that are, obesity, like, let's not normalize those things. It's not okay, and so we need to be the example. And it doesn't mean we all have to have like super chiseled fit bodies, but it just means that we're living by example. We're being mindful of what we put in our body. We're being mindful of the movement for our bodies and how that connects to our brain health, our gut health. I mean, again, it's all interconnected. They say the gut's the second brain, and that's a big part of your nutrition. And so that's what we're hoping that this challenge does.
And we all know that, like, a bad meal, what it produces, right? Like, just your, again, productivity crashes, because then you feel like you need to take a nap, right? So it's like, how do we look at food? How do we what is our relationship like around food? And like Marcela was saying, you know, like if you're just looking at this challenge and you have a start date and expiration date, and you're like, okay, then once it's done, then you're not truly creating something that's sustainable and that's long term. So this really is kind of like, again, a reset, but also just kind of like a reboot to get you on the right track, to get you to start building those habits that are going to develop hopefully long-term lifestyles and commitments that you are making for yourself and for your family. So let's check in with our community really quickly as you're logging in. If you're here, let us know in the chat. You know, if you're here just by commenting, I'm here with you. If you're catching this on the replay, just go ahead and comment watching the replay. Again, we love our community and thank you for taking the time to join us. I know it's kind of short or last minute, but we felt that it would be important for us to kind of come together and just inspire our community. Again, like I love that Candi brought up that it's not about having a chiseled body, right? I think where you are and where you find yourself today, what your journey looks like is so different. I know my journey looks very different from Marcela's and also very different from Candi's. We all have our own personal goals and what we want fitness to look like. So I would even challenge you right now as we're talking and, you know, over this topic is like, pray about like, God, what does me honoring you through my body look like for me? What does it look like for me and for my family? How can I honor you with my choices? You know, and I think what I love about fitness is that the discipline that you practice within making healthier choices, because it's not easy, right? You have two choices. You're like the fried food or the healthy salad, right?
Yes.
And ultimately it comes down to making the choice. Same thing with our faith. You know, we can live one way according to God's principles and how he calls us to live our life, or we can be tempted into sin, right? And it all requires for us to implement and practice a level of self-control. And that's what I love about fitness is that it almost puts it into practice. So when you discipline yourself with your body, it almost just makes it, don't want to say easier, it's still challenging, but you gain strength in making the better choice for yourself because you're sacrificing something right now for something much better later, right? And so
And discipline can be a challenging word or concept for a lot of people, especially if you've had a yo-yo history in your health or your relationship with food or in your weight. And so where I would challenge you and where there was a big shift for me is when I stopped looking at it like discipline, because we all fall short. Nobody's perfect. You know, nobody can nail it 100% all the time, but it became a devotion to my health. Like I'm devoted to myself, to my health, to the temple that God gave me. And there was just a mental shift, you know, when those food options are there, they're always going to be there. I never have to say that I'm never not going to have this again, yet I'm devoted to this goal that I set into place. And so we're going to dig into some of that. I think we planned some Zooms or some conversations that we'll be having, you know, and while this isn't, you know, full-blown therapy, but in my experience as a coach, I have navigated these conversations, and sometimes they are just addressing the roots. Why do you keep going back? Are there things that are coming up for you that a certain food group or certain foods are bringing you comfort? And so those are opportunities to invite God into that space and allow him to heal so that food is no longer that Band-Aid anymore. And so, I mean, it's only a 6-week challenge, but I feel like this could be the start for some big changes for a lot of people.
And I think it goes back to stewarding what God gives us. And I think that's when that mind shift happens, is knowing that your body, yes, it is a temple of, you know, the Holy Spirit, but also that's God's. Like God gave you that body. And sometimes we get into this mentality that, I have to do a workout to be able to eat the cookie, or I have to eat that salad so I can lose the weight. And it just becomes this like almost like a task to do instead of just thinking, you know what? God gave me this body. God allowed me to be here, to get out of bed today when there's people in a bed in a hospital that are not even able to walk, right? And just being able to be grateful and steward our health and our bodies because they're not ours. How can you treat something that God gave you to really take care of? And I know it's easier said than done, and it's a really hard thing to do, to be able to be disciplined, to do all the things that you're supposed to do when you hear everything, and all the things that now like do the ice bath and do this. And it's not about being perfect, but how can you do better today than you did yesterday, right? And that's the whole goal of this 6-week challenge, is to help you start creating those good habits to change your health, right? So sometimes some of you might feel overwhelmed because you're like, oh, I don't have time to work out. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to eat, right? So this challenge is just to help you do it with community and with guidance so that you can start where you're at and hopefully be able to make progress each day, each week.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you would want to get out of this challenge. If you could drop in the comments, let us know. What is
Yes,
it that
I
you
wanna
would
hear
like
it.
to get out of this challenge?
Yeah. I'll share mine. I know for me, I shared a little bit already, is that it's not so much of like physical appearance. I think that will come as a result of me making these, healthier choices. But it really is just more productivity. I mean, I have a high demand, I don't, not career, I mean, what calling. Yes. And so I can only give half of my best when I am not being intentional about the choices that I'm making. And I'm still productive and I can still accomplish great things for the kingdom. But when I really am intentional, when I am, practicing self-control, when I am disciplined, that I notice a big shift, in my productivity. Like I said, 50%, literally. I mean, it really increases significantly. So just in having that increase in productivity, clearly it's going to affect everything else that I do, how I show up to places, the amount of things that I'm able to accomplish, for the day. And this is not just work. This is not just ministry. This is showing up for my family. I was telling them, I cleaned out my kitchen cabinets. I cleaned out our studio. Like it really is just going to just flow into everything else that you do. And the other thing, you put a comment because you kind of helped out with the outline and what we're going to be talking about today. And I love that one of the things you talked about was just like, if we're too tired or too sick or too stressed to walk out our calling, it's not just a personal loss, it's a kingdom loss. So share a little bit around that. And yeah, we're sharing the mic here. So
Even outside of kingdom, I think even in your immediate kingdom is clearly why we're here. But when we think about stewarding what God has given us, right? That's also in our home life, our marriage, our children. When you are low in energy, what is your mood showing up like? And these are just questions for you to start thinking about. How is your mood? Are you fatigued? Are you short fused? Are you like not intimate with your spouse? Are you like, these are real questions that you need to be asking yourself. Do you feel like your mental clarity is producing work, and are you still staying creative? If we are children of the Creator, we should be creative. And if you have a mental fog over you where you've lacked creativity, you've lacked energy to be able to make an impact, then I would challenge you to prioritize your health and see how that impacts your creativity, see how that impacts your imagination and opportunities and the people that you get to impact. And, it starts one person at a time, and that's really how we make kingdom impact is. And we were talking about this earlier before the stream about, I really do believe that we have assignments, and sometimes people are our assignments. What are you missing, or who are you missing?
yeah, that's good. Did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I feel like because being a mom, you're always being pulled and like, I want this, I need this. And then, of course, the work, ministry, all of the things. And I've noticed in my personal journey that it's not always just about the workout part, right? Like we know wellness is way more than just working out. It obviously helps. But for me is making sure I'm getting enough sleep, making sure I'm spending time with God, like making sure that I'm taking time to just breathe and not be go, go, go all the time. And once you start looking at your whole life rhythm, what I call like, are you actually feeling like you're going somewhere, or you just feel like going in circles, right? So that's one of the things that I would like to be more intentional over this next 6 weeks. And it's great timing because the kids just went back to school and it's like, I get my routine back. And that's why we're doing this challenge right now. It's like back to school, back to basics. Let's get into a good routine and actually looking at the other aspects of health. That's your sleep, your stress, right? And it's very important. Like you analyzing how you feel and how you respond is going to be a mirror of your health. Obviously, that could be your spiritual health, but also your physical and mental health. So that's why it's important to to do
Slow
things
down.
like this, right?
Yes.
Because it challenges you. It is a challenge, but it also almost forces you to like do
Pay
it because
attention.
and pay attention and
Bring
bring the awareness
awareness.
to then make those changes.
Yes.
And some of you might see amazing changes in 6 weeks. Some of you might take 6 weeks to actually start doing it, but that's the beauty of doing it with others.
Yeah.
So we really encourage you, if you've been struggling, if you're someone that just every time I do it, I fail, and you're already failing before you even start, that's something that we need to just change,
mindful
right?
of,
And
yeah.
and be mindful of, and just be able to ask for help. And when you're in community, especially with the She Is Society community, we're sisters here, right? We love to ask for help and be like, hey, I'm
Yes.
struggling with this. Sometimes all it requires is just praying about it and just getting out of your own head and being able to give it to God. And that includes the little things, the little habits that sometimes we don't realize that those little steps, those little habits are getting you somewhere. And that somewhere can be good or the opposite. And that's one thing I always think about, the compound effect, right? And how everything you do, everything is taking you somewhere. And sometimes you don't see it right away. It might take 6 months, it might take 6 years. But those habits are taking you to a good place or the opposite.
Yes, that's so good. Such a great reminder. The other thing that I wanted to touch on before we get into the challenge details is another comment here that you put, Candi, and it says, frame health as a kingdom assignment, not a personal vanity project.
So here's the deal. When we make anything, whether it is your business, your career, your children, is something that becomes, priority over God, that is where we lose sight of why we're doing it, right? Because then it's not about what, again, the heart of this challenge is that it is getting you in alignment. It's bringing you closer to God. It's helping you live out your purpose. And so we're not here trying to get you to focus on, while it's great if you're like, oh, I lost X amount of pounds and this many inches. That's not our focus. Our focus is, how is your energy? How are you showing up different? How are your clothes feeling? How's your confidence levels? Those things are important, and not so much just on, the scale. And that's a big one, for a lot of people. I don't think the scale is a good option to even have in your house, because sometimes we're tied to it, or we go back in high school, I used to weigh so and so, and I was going back to it way back when, or holding on to clothes that, like, stop, because those are just negative reminders. Those are just things that are going to keep us pulled back. And so, I think it's just one opportunity for us to really say, how do I want my future to look? When we stay stuck, it's because we have to talk to ourselves about the stories we've been telling ourselves, right? It's what story have you been telling yourself that is keeping you there? And the good news is that you get to write yourself a new story. What story do you need to start saying so that life can look different in your future?
Yes, and what I love about everything that we do is the faith component, right? Like, we know that when we decide and choose to do hard things, that we can't do it apart from God. In fact, Scripture says you can't do anything apart from God. So that is something that we're constantly encouraging our community, is to ask God, look at God, invite Him into each and every moment, invite Him into your workouts. I say sometimes the greatest pre-workout I can have is a prayer. It's inviting God into that moment to give me the energy I need, to help me to not get distracted, to help me to push through. Because sometimes I'm in 10 minutes and I'm like, I think I'm done. And I'm like, Lord, please help me. And it really, it makes such a difference. So the faith element in this challenge, and making sure that we are keeping the main focus, which is our relationship with the Lord, and making sure that we're inviting Him to help us to execute that. We would not just be women that say, oh, I'm going to start something that sounds exciting, right? But then be done with it a week in because we lost momentum or we lost motivation, but not just consider the feeling in the moment, but consider the commitment that we're making to ourselves, the yes that we're saying to something, because we're wanting something out of it, but we're not going to get the result that we want if we're not willing to put in the work that is required to get the result. I think about, women who come to you and are like, Candi, what are you doing? Like, they want the end result, but they don't realize that at the gym, how often you're there, what you're having to put down in order for you to get the results that you're getting, the time commitment, the sacrifice, the dedication. And it's not just been 2 months. It's not just 6 weeks. Like, this is in and out what you're doing on a daily basis. And so women hear that and they're like, yeah, I don't want to do that, or they'll get discouraged, right? But that's why I'm saying also is like considering where you're at and asking God, what do you want for me out of this next 6 weeks? You know, whether you choose to join this challenge or not, like really just having that conversation and awareness and being honest with yourself, right? About like, how have I viewed my relationship with food? Even just reflection questions, write them down, and like, what has your relationship been with food, and why? You know, have you asked God why you're struggling with weight? Have you asked God to reveal to you what is it that maybe you have part in, and what is it that maybe God has to deliver you from, that has to happen supernaturally? I know part of my own story is that God delivered me from bulimia, and it wasn't not anything that I did specifically. It was just a supernatural deliverance of that struggle that I had to go through, and God taught me so many valuable lessons that it was hard, but I'm grateful for those lessons, you know. It really reshaped and reframed how I view food, how I view God, how I view myself. So I think in everything, there's always a lesson for us to walk away from if we're just intentional about asking God, like, why am I going through this? And what do you want to teach me through this? And again, going back to how we started, how can I honor you with my choices, with my life, and with my body? And one of the scriptures that we have here that Candi shared on our outline is that Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord. Think about, I think God cares about our commitments. Whether it's a commitment to marriage, a commitment to our children, a commitment to our career, a commitment to our bosses, a commitment to our relationships with one another, how we're showing up. If we're like, hey, yeah, I'm your friend, I'm here, but then like, I'm not showing up for her, I'm not asking her how she's doing, I'm not making the investment that's going to show her that I'm serious about our friendship is not going to really last, or it's not going to be strengthened, or it's not going to allow us to go where we know God can take us in our friendship. Same thing with our commitment to our body and to ourselves. Following through with commitments is so important. And I know in the past I used to be the yo-yo girl. Like, I'm going to do this. And then like a weekend, just I'd get busy or something. It's not that I didn't want to follow through. It's just that other things took the place. So what does it look like to make a commitment and follow through?
Yes.
And I think that when you're able to do it in one area, then it transcends into other areas of your life, that you're going to be a person of follow through. You're going to be a person that is serious about the commitments that you're making. There's another scripture that talks about let your yes be yes and your no be no, right? Anything else is a sin. And I believe it's in James, if you want to find that, or someone that's watching, I'm paraphrasing there, but it really does say, let your yes be yes. And I think, again, because God does care about our commitments, and he does care about what we're vocalizing, what we're saying yes to.
And I think to add to that, it's a reminder that he cares about it because he's with us in it. So when you feel like you can't, if we truly trust that he's with us in it, then he is what we're not. He can do what we can't. So it's not all your supernatural strength, right? It's him, inviting him into this journey. And that's what makes this wellness challenge different than maybe most fitness challenges that you've done in the past, is that we are doing this with, our spiritual walk being the forefront. And again, when we invite him into this, then I trust that he's going to not only help you walk this out, but he's going to connect you with people that are going to be pivotal in your journey. That's the big thing about our community. She is as a whole, is people have found their lifelong best friends, their group, their connections, because they're walking alongside other women who are saying, like, life's hard, but if we put him at the forefront of all the things, everything else can fall into place. And we get to link arms with people and share our vulnerabilities and our challenges. And people are going to stand in agreement with what God says over your situation, and not just dwell in your situation with you, but help you see past it, or stand in the gap and pray for you until you do.
Well, I mean, I just think about Marcela, how, like, when I've leaned on her in times where she's like, where are you? And I'm like, shoot, I have to show up, right? Because someone is expecting me to show up. So I think even in that, just being intentional about your friendships, and hopefully, like, as we start this challenge, that they can maybe pick that person that's going to hold them accountable and check in on them. And I mean, we'll be doing a big chunk of that, but even what would it look like to partner with someone else that's doing the challenge, to make sure that you're showing up for each other in that way too. So the next thing I want to talk about is kind of like who this is for, and then we're going to talk about what you will get out of this challenge. So we talked about it a little bit, Candi. What this challenge is for, what woman?
Well, I want this first to be an open opportunity for anyone who wants to do this. I think when we think about the person who's going to partner in with us, it's kind of what we've been talking about. Maybe you're the person who has resonated with something we've said so far. You know, you haven't always prioritized your health, or maybe you did in the past and life just got in the way. We want to help equip you with skills, with tools. Once you have the tools in your toolkit, you'll be able to move past these challenges beyond the challenge. That's the goal, is that when you come into this, you get equipped with not only the support system, but actual tools that when this challenge ends, you have that accessible to you. And the other thing is, there is no age, specific, right? Like anybody, if maybe you're already in your fitness journey and you just want to connect with other people who have other similar passions, this is going to be a good opportunity to connect with other sisters in Christ who are have a heart to prioritize their health.
Yeah, and I think even just the woman that's like me, right? Like fitness always being a passion of mine. But then life gets busy and you kind of put it on the back burner and you're like, it's time to get back on track, to create these routines again. And so even for that woman. So share with us a little bit about what this program includes and what they're going to be getting out of these next 6 weeks.
So the first thing is going to be, if you look at actual fitness, we have workouts. So I'm going to be using my fitness app to contribute in the whole challenge. And in there, I have workouts that you can follow at home or at the gym. They're already there for you. It's like a workout plan. I also have videos that you can choose from to do from home. Very minimal equipment. If you're someone that's already going to the gym, you prefer to go to the gym, there's also gym workouts that you can use the machines or whatever that you like. If you are like, I need someone to watch me and coach me, I'm also coaching on Zoom 2 days of the week. It's at 5:30 in the morning. It is early, but it's before the day starts. Like I know we're done right at 6, and then I get with the kids to get them ready for school. If that's too early, you can join at that time, then we do have the replays for those days as well. Now, if you're someone that's just getting started and you're like, I don't know if I can do all these workouts, you can start with one workout a week and then slowly start adding the workouts. Now, nutrition-wise, there's going to be a meal guide. It's like a sample guide just to give you an idea how to start eating better, how to start making better choices. You're going to have a ton of recipes that you can choose from. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, all of that. And it comes with a little video on how to make the meal. You can do that or just keep it super simple if you just want to, do the protein, the veggie, the fat, whatever it is. If you're overwhelmed with nutrition, how about we just choose breakfast, right? Let's just start making breakfast. Just little things like that. And then on top of that, I do have a habit tracker in the app that you get to track. Like, did I drink water today? Did I read my Bible today? You're going to have a daily scripture that you have to write out for the whole week, the whole 6 weeks. So you have, 7 times 6, whatever, 42? 42 scriptures that you'll be writing out each day. And then you get to be entered to win. Now, we did mention it's not necessarily a weight loss or fat loss transformation challenge. It's going to be based on participation. So the way you get points is by completing a workout. That could be a walk or that could be a 30 or a 60-minute workout. So everybody's going to be different, but by completing a workout, you get points. And if you complete your daily habits, you get points. And it's going to be based on.
And the really cool thing I like about that is that there's a leaderboard, so you kind of see where you rank amongst the other challengers, So that's really cool. If you're competitive like I am and you want to see yourself at the top, you just got to get all the workouts in, right?
The way we'll do it, because I've done it that way before, and sometimes once you see someone's first and they're very far away from you, you get discouraged and you just kind of quit. Is that we're going to do top 10, and then from the top 10, we'll do a drawing for all the giveaways we have.
Nice.
So it's not necessarily just first place. It's like we're all going for the top 10, right? So it could be, that way you don't feel like, oh, well, she's way ahead of me. I'm just not even going to try.
Yeah.
And it makes it more fun and
engaging.
Fair. Yes.
You're like, I'm number 10, and there's still a chance.
And we do have some amazing giveaways, that I think we have one with Candi, so she's giving a giveaway. Can you share more about what you're gonna give?
Yeah, it's going to be a complimentary coaching. So it's going to include some of the things that we've discussed, kind of just an ongoing for your continued plan for your journey beyond the challenge.
And then I'm going to be doing a full month of my fitness app, so that way you can have all of the challenge an extra month so you can continue on. And we have, what else do we have? I know we have a list, but there's like 10.
Yes.
We have like 10 different
There's
giveaways.
a lot. Because again,
Yes.
like Candi said, this is not the first time we do this. We do this once a year. It's our Faith and Fitness Challenge. And it's just gotten better every year. More prizes, more just fitness opportunities for you to just have more workouts and just more coaching, more accountability, more stuff.
And honestly, we're asking for is a $59 donation for 6 weeks. That's $10 a week that you spend at Starbucks in one day. So I think if you start looking at it's so much value that you're getting and so much that we're giving you for only $59. Sometimes we are like, oh, I don't have $59. But if you were to just cut back on eating out or picking up food one day of the week, you'll get that money right back. Plus, if you actually follow the meal guide and you start cooking from home, you're going to save that on your first week.
Yeah.
That's such a great point. So, well, unless you guys have any questions in the chat, I see a few of you are watching live. Nori, hey girl, and Judith, and also Veronica. Thank you so much for joining us here. Again, we're just so grateful to for you to be interested in this conversation, because again, like we said, whether you choose to join or you're just considering like what does better health look like for you in this season, it's definitely something that we want you to consider and think about. And hopefully we can prioritize it and put it a little bit on a higher, like I know for me, just make it more of a priority than I have recently. And we just know and believe that God is going to teach us many things through this journey. So any closing thoughts or anything?
Yeah, well, I'm excited to partner with you, and just I have full faith that this is going to be something that's going to have a long-lasting impact, not just on you, but the people you get to do life with. And I also encourage you to invite them into your journey with you. Let your family know, let close friends know. Invite a friend to do this. Maybe this isn't your time, but somebody comes up as you're hearing this. Invite them to come in. I mean, if anything, even just connecting them to this community, it could be something that makes a big, lasting impact on their life.
Yeah, that's for sure. We've seen so many women come in from a friend, or even just they saw someone post about She Is Society, and now they're just a big part of all the things that we're doing, and just the impact it's had on their life is truly transformational. So any closing thoughts or anything that you want to share before we close out?
No, I think if you have any questions, or you're like, I always try these things and I never do it because I had someone tell me that, so I'm talking to you, is that sometimes, as I said, you quit before you even start, and you just need someone to push you, and you might get that spark, even if it's like a week later, to just start moving and start doing the thing. We will be available if you want to reach out to us with any questions. If you need the link, it is pinned up here somewhere.
Yes.
Or you can message us with any questions you might have. We're also going to be at the social this Thursday. If you want to come up to me or Candi or Edith and just ask us about the challenge, so that we can give you more like information like in person. I'm excited for the social as well coming up.
Yeah, so hopefully you'll be joining us this Thursday at our She Is social. We're going to have so many great things that are coming up for our community for the end of the year, and then also leading into 2026. So make sure you come and join us, not just for fellowship and prayer and community, but also just to really plan and prepare, like what does more faithful you look like? What does someone that's truly committed to their walk with God look like? And we want to come alongside of you and help to equip you and make sure that you are provided with just everything that you need to succeed on this journey. I mean, that's why we exist, is because we know that support is needed. We know accountability is needed. We know that women just need to be supported in such a big way, because it's no easy task, but yet it's very, very critical. I mean, when we think about like our mission is really, I mean, fitness is a small part of all of the things that we do, but our most important passion and the reason why we get up and do this work, the reason why they take time to come here is because we really want to see more women in heaven, and we want to see your babies in heaven, and we want to see your husbands in heaven, and we want to see you, living in strong, healthy marriages and strong, healthy bodies. And so, we're always going to encourage you to think about these things. What does a better, faithful you look like? Faithful to what God has called you to. And so this is one way that we do it. But gearing up as we end the year and going into next year is like, how do you really take this commitment more serious, and how do you prepare for that? And so we are coming up with all the ways that you can be equipped, and all you have to do is just do your part. It's like when you go to the gym and like the trainer, like you just show up and they tell you what to work out and how to work out and what to do. It's kind of like that here is like, read your Bible. Here you can read it here with our community, you can read it at home, and just all the other ways, right, that we know that are going to help grow you. So yes, that is all we have for y'all now. Like we said, the link is in the description. If you have any questions, let us know. If you're still waiting on a sign, don't think, I love what Marcela said, is like, sometimes, it takes faith for you to believe in yourself. But if you don't believe in yourself, it's going to be hard for others to really be able to push you if you've already counted yourself out in your own mind. So really, sometimes the faith comes after you've taken that first step. So we hope that you will join us on this challenge. We will see y'all on Thursday, hopefully. And until the next podcast, we will see y'all. Be blessed. Bye.
Bye.